Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Trading Academy. In the last segment, we talked about how to make investing and trading less complicated. Things are on TV and internet, and it make things look very, very difficult to understand. There's different terminology, different words. It's almost like a different language. But once you understand how to read that language, then you can make smarter investing decisions. It actually does start with a little bit of knowledge, but then building the skill to actually do that. We have investing classes right here in the metro area to help people get started with their investing and trading journey, whether they're brand new or they've been investing and trading for 20 or 30 years and looking for more consistency. I'm going to give a number here for you to call or text. If you're going to call, mention you're calling for the free investing class. If you're going to text, just type in the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. That's call or text 952-905-0975. And we can make sure we get an investing class in a neighborhood near you. We have these classes all across the metro, but also at our facility, our academy actually, right here in Bloomington, right off 494. So call or text the number 952-905-0975 for 2 seats for an investing class. So once you have a strategy, Al, you have to be able to follow that strategy step by step. And as we were talking about in the last segment, things can be very complicated with different words, different terminology and everything. But you really help people overcome those challenges of the knowledge part as far as what these words mean. And then once you understand what those mean, it's just a different language. Now, what are some of the steps that you help a lot of people with that, let's just say somebody is in their working years right now. I'd say anywhere between 30 and 65. And they're trying to build a life for themselves and build a capital, a bucket of money for later on, but they also want to be able to build that for now as well. They want to be able to have more fun, do some trips, and have more flexibility of their time and schedule and all that stuff. When you're helping people get over that hurdle of the terminology of these different markets, the futures market, the Forex market, the options market, even the cryptocurrency market. I mean, there's different markets out there that do different things, and they're almost like vehicles. And it's just understanding and realizing that you can drive these vehicles, but you may drive them a slightly different way based on their power, or in this case, the markets, their leverage. What are some of the leveraged assets that you're helping people utilize for income strategies?
Well, that's a very important concept, that concept of leverage, especially if you're looking for income. It's almost something you have to take advantage of if you want to generate additional income. And to be honest with you, if you want to have enough money in your retirement bucket to survive, you need to know what those short-term leverage strategies are also. And, you mentioned, I want to comment on this, you mentioned how people feel it's complicated. Mm-hmm. Well, number one, you're told by Wall Street that it's too complicated for you.
But who's Wall Street? Are they hearing that from?
Well, those are the big players. That's the successful banking institutions, Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, even people like Warren Buffett, hedge fund managers. They tell you that you need them because that's part of how they survive.
Or their advisors,
based on supposedly helping you. Also, when you hear things like options, futures, forex, and you don't know what they are, that seems to add to the complication too. So one of our goals is to simplify things, and let's just bring it down to what's basically important, and that's finding the right time to buy and the right time to sell. Mm-hmm. That's the thing that's important. You have to rely on timing, and people are going to go, you can't time the market. You have to rely on timing regardless of what you've been told by the media, by the pundits, and by the big Wall Street banks. Timing is crucial. What I mean by timing is when, as I said, when is the right time to buy and when's the right time to sell. Wall Street will basically just tell you, now's the right time to get in and just hold on forever and hope that you have something at the end of 10 or 20 or 30 years. People don't trade, successful people don't trade in what's happening now. They trade based on what's going to happen. And we help you to achieve that by concentrating on the people that make those things happen. Things don't change without action by somebody. So who is that somebody? And if there was a way of identifying them, so you have the opportunity to put the odds in your favor of something working in the direction you want it to go, within the time period you want it to go, and to the price you want it to go for your profit. That's what our core strategy does. Let's just keep this simple and concentrate on the only thing that really moves price in a significant way. That's institutional activity. That's big money. That's people putting maybe billions of dollars into one position. That's enough to move the market. But the great thing for us, and in these classes we talk about how we use what is a big disadvantage to those big players. We use that to our advantage, and that's how our core strategy is so successful in what it does. But when you're looking at, let's look at that short-term income. If you need more income, if you need more money now, if you are struggling to pay your bills, if you're paying your bills but there's not enough left to have the kind of fun you want to have, or to fund your retirement accounts, what do? Do you get another job? Do you get a second job or a third job? Do you go into your boss and say, hey, you know what, I need to double my income. You need to give me a 100% raise or 50% raise.
That usually works pretty well.
Yeah, try that, folks, and see what happens. No, you can't control that, but what you can control is how you use your money. The money that you make, you should have that working for you. Basically, the advice you're getting from Wall Street is I'm going to call it antiquated advice in many ways, and it's based on the fact that they're looking at the easiest way for them to manage your money, and by managing it, they kind of use that term loosely, because when they tell you just to put a portfolio together and hold on to it for decades and don't worry about corrections or crashes, how's that managing? That really isn't managing. Basically, every time you have a profit and you don't take it, that profit could disappear and may not appear again for another 2 years or 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, Al always brings some great knowledge to the show. And just for those of you that don't know what antiquated means, I actually had to Google that. It means old-fashioned or outdated. So basically, you may be using a strategy from them. They're telling you to do things that actually doesn't work anymore. It's not acceptable anymore.
A lot of the strategies, especially retirement strategies, were put together maybe 40 years ago, back when the 401ks were put together. And at that time, the advice they were giving probably was good advice, but not so much anymore. We have a pretty significant retirement crisis in this country, and it's getting worse basically by the day. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons is that people are following antiquated advice.
Yep.
But the income portion, and you mentioned options, futures, and Forex. Those are what we call leveraged assets, which means that you can have whatever dollars you have in your portfolio, you can multiply the impact of those dollars. It could be 50 point move or 50-time move for $1, or 20 times, or 10 times, or maybe 100 times. That's how you maximize the value of your money. And you would not be the only people. We're not the only people telling you to do this. We may be telling you to do it, but other people are using it. Who's using it? All the big firms, all the Wall Street firms, all the hedge fund managers, people like Warren Buffett. They're using these leveraged assets because they know that's how you get the greatest benefit out of your investment dollars.
Yeah, so basically, if you're still using a telegram, or if you're still riding horse and buggy, or using a typewriter, and you're getting things done in the same efficiency rate as someone using a telephone or a vehicle or an airplane or a computer, well then, if that's the case, then we might have to change our little topic here. But I'm assuming that's not the case. You have to be using what's actually up in the times, what's actually you working now, not what worked 20, 30 years ago, because it's 2024. It's time to use strategies designed for you right now. So if you want to see what those strategies are, simply to come in one of these investing classes that we go over these different techniques and concepts on the markets, how to use the right strategies that are designed for now and not for the 50 years ago. You can call or text. So if you call or text the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. That's 952-905-0975. We're going to get you 2 seats for an investing class right here in Bloomington or all across the metro. We have different locations, 952-905-0975. So, Al, with these you mentioned these different assets, the futures market, the forex market, the options market, and you kind of alluded to earlier as well. Those may be new terms for some people as well. You may hear about them, just don't know what they are. Very something similar as when I started playing guitar. I've heard of the word riffs and lick and stuff like that. There's different ways to do to play the guitar, and then different things that you can do with that. I heard the term. I didn't know what it was. It was kind of daunting to me at one point. But once you start playing it, you're like, yeah, that was a riff you just played. Okay, well, that was simple. It's just this, and then it's just terminology is all it is, and it's getting over that hurdle of not knowing, because when people don't know, they a lot of times freeze. They do nothing, and then nothing changes, especially in the financial markets and their financial life. If they don't know what to do, they'll do nothing, and they'll get year after year after year goes by, and they're in a worse off spot they've ever been into. Now, you've helped people kind of play catch up a little bit. What do you think are some, in probably about a minute and a half, what are some of the things that you can help people with on the radio to get started to help getting caught up?
Well, first of all, I would say come into one of these classes, and what is important is identifying what you want your life to look like. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. They have different goals, different objectives. But if you have a goal, to get to your goal successfully, you may have to do something different than somebody else. But in almost all cases, the most important thing is learning how to use properly these income-producing assets. And the ones that are best for income are options, futures, and forex. They can be used very short-term in nature. Futures is basically you're looking at what you think something will be worth in the future. Will it be worth more, or will it be worth less? It could be the major stock markets, foreign stock markets. It could be commodities. You mentioned gold and silver before. You can trade the precious metals in the futures market. You can trade currencies, interest rates, a number of different things, which gives you an opportunity to have a really highly correct diversification within your portfolio.
And the way you said that too is exactly the stock market. If you want to buy a stock, you want to buy it and have it go up in the future.
Yeah,
it's the same thing, right?
If let's just say that you want to be diversified,
yeah,
and you do it all within stocks or mutual funds, which are baskets of stocks. Mm-hmm. If you have, let's say that, and sometimes I know people would call into Jim Cramer's show and tell him what their portfolio was made up of, and they might say, I have some stocks in the financial market, some in technology, some in healthcare, some in consumer staples, some consumer discretionary, and he'll say, yeah, you're well diversified. The problem is you're all of those things are in the same asset class, which is equities, stock, mm-hmm. and the correlation during corrections and crashes becomes huge. All of them get sucked out. The good companies that shouldn't get punished with the bad ones. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so important to be able to use things that are not correlated or maybe are inversely correlated. The futures family itself gives you the opportunity to do all of those things. Or you can use the futures market in addition to something else. But that, if you need additional income, it has to be something you can access and actually have there to take advantage of, not in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years, but maybe today or next week or next month.
Yep.
That means you have to find something that is ideal for getting into and out of in that short time frame, and that's going to be different based on person to person.
Correct.
One of the things we do is help you identify what is the best one for you, the best path for you to have the greatest opportunity of achieving your goals.
Yeah, it all comes down to a word that you said probably about 7 minutes ago, and you mentioned odds. It's increasing your odds, putting the odds and probabilities into your favor for your strategy, what you need for now, and not what worked many, many years ago. So we have these investing classes that Al has been alluding to that we have all across the metro here in Bloomington. And we've been having a lot of people coming into these classes to get started with their financial journey. To come into one of these classes, simply call or text the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. That's 952-905-0975 will get you a class that makes sense on your schedule during the week, during the weekends, or in the evenings. Text the word the word trading to the number 952-905-0975. Coming up next, stay tuned. We got a lot more to discuss on retirement accounts and retirement strategies. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back.